Ministries. This is Tracy. Hey, have you ever tried something and it worked really great and you thought, I'm going to try that again because of course it's going to work again because it worked last time? Well, this is kind of the story we're talking about today. We're talking about King David, one of the greatest kings, one of the greatest warriors there ever was. He never lost a battle. Why is that? Well, we're going to find out why that is, okay? He just had a battle with the Philistines, all right? He asked God, what should we do? He said, should we go up against them? And God said, yes, you will have a great victory. What happened? Yes, they had a super great victory. They won. They slayed them all down. So now the Philistines are coming up against him again. So what would David do? Would David say, well, it worked last time. Let's just go ahead and do it again this time? Not quite. Listen to the story. We're in 1 Chronicles chapter 14 and we're in verses 14 and 15, okay? This is how the story goes. So, David again asked God, what should we do? This time, God told him, don't march up after them. Circle around them and come up against them in front of the trees. When you hear the sound of the marching in the tops of the trees, then attack. For at that moment the Lord is going before you to strike down the army of the Philistines. So David did not go on his own common sense. Well, this worked before, so let's do it this time. No, that's not what he did. He used godly wisdom. He knew, I'm not smart enough to do this, to know which way to go and which way to attack, so we will be victorious. He says, I'm going to ask God again. And he said, and as you listen to the verse, it says, this time, God said, do it this way. He said, circle around and listen for the wind in the trees, for the marching, the troops marching around. And when he heard that, he said, go into victory, go into battle, because the victory is yours. What can we learn from this? We don't go into battle all the time. Are you sure about that? Yes, we do. Every single day we go into battle, whether we realize it or not. Ephesians chapter 6 is the greatest example of that. I have a video on that called Fighting the Battle, and it's about spiritual gear. Every single day we wake up, we should put on this spiritual gear, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the girdle of truth, the sandals of peace, the sword of the Spirit, and the shield of faith. Well, watch that video. It'll tell you more about each piece of that armor anyway. So, the battle is a spiritual battle we're going into every single day. The enemy is out there to take you down. He is out there to kill, steal, and destroy. He wants to mess with your mind, mess with your life, upset everything going on around you. He wants you fighting everybody else but the right enemy. Who's the right enemy? The devil and his demons. He can use any person he wants. He can just use them, pull their little strings like a puppet, right? Have them say the right word to you, do the right thing that'll set you off. So, what I'm saying is there are many things that the enemy can use to set us off, to get us just seeing red and smoke coming out of our ears, right? So what do we do? How can we combat that? Well, what we do is we start the day with prayer. We have to start with God, asking Him for His perspective, for His protection, and for His guidance through that day. Jesus started His day with prayer. We read it throughout the New Testament. In the Gospels, it's always saying, and Jesus arose early, and He spent time with the Lord. And how much time? Usually it was hours, okay, guys? But that was Jesus, okay? And He's our perfect example, all right? So what we need to do is at least start with some time with the Lord. So if you're not having any time with the Lord in the morning, you are an open punching bag. You're like a big target right there in the center. Hit me! Come on! I want some more! Give me your best shot, right? So that's what we're doing when we don't set ourselves up for victory. When we don't set ourselves up in the beginning of the day to be ready for battle. And then throughout the day, what do? We continue on in prayer. You go down in Ephesians 6 verses 18 and 19, it talks about continuing in all occasions in the Spirit with prayer, moving forward. We need to We need to look to God for the answers for things. Whether it's just a quick prayer, Lord, what would you have me do in this situation? Sometimes we don't have time for a great big long prayer. There's a circumstance right in front of us, right then and there, and we need an answer. We need protection right then and there, or we need to know which direction to go right then and there. And if you just say, Lord, please give me your wisdom, He'll guide you, He'll direct you, He'll protect you. But we need to keep that open communication with the Lord so we can fight the right battle. But back to our verse with David, okay? What was David doing? David had a great victory over here in fighting the Philistines. God told him to go straight forward, go get them. But then the next time came around, David didn't take it just by assumption I should do the same exact thing because that worked last time. That's what God told me last time. He went to the source, the original source, God, and said, God, what would you have me do this time? And guess what, folks? It was something completely different. And that's just like your life and my life, okay? Things will come along and they'll look like the exact same sort of situation. But it's not. Because everything changes. We need to commit each day to the Lord because every day is different. And we want God's direction for that day. Even though things look similar, even though we think it's the same, we need to rely on God in all things. Some of us think, oh, I've got this part mastered, I have the same job, I have the same house, I have the same husband, I've got this, whatever. Everything seems the same, so I just got to keep on rolling with that and doing the same thing. No. See, every day is different. Even though the circumstances look the same, there's always something different. It's a new day. Just as David was told, when you see the tops of the trees moving, when you hear them moving in the tree tops, that's when you're to move forward. That's when you're going to have the victory. Just as when David heard what the Lord told him to do, David obeyed what God told him to do. See, it's one thing to hear what God is saying, and it's another thing to actually do it and get the victory. Apply it to your own life. Ask the Lord to make things clear to you. Don't go on assumption that just because I did this the other day, it's going to work over here today. It may not be. Circumstances change, guys, okay? Only the Lord knows what tomorrow holds, what the next minute holds, all right? This has been Tracy from Esther 414 Ministries.